City. It's the Wendy Williams Show. Now, here's Wendy.
Thank you for watching. My co-host and studio audience. Love him. Ooh, boy. I'm doing okay. Let's get started. It's time for Hot Topics. Well, an anniversary wish is in order to the Kim Kanye West family. 4 years, you made it. That's better than 172 days. Certainly better than me eating crow. 1,461 days. Congratulations. In the meantime, over at the Jacksons, Michael Jackson's special airs tonight at 8 o'clock. Do you know about this? Are you gonna watch? Yes. All right, I'm centering my evening around it. I have something to do earlier in the evening, but I wanna rush home to watch it at 8 o'clock. Okay, so, I mean, they're probably not gonna show us anything that we haven't seen before, but I think I'm more curious because it's on ABC, you know? And so ABC, you think of, all right, well, there's some serious broadcasters over there. You know, that's the same channel that, were the ones with Anderson Cooper?
No, Anderson is CBS, 60
Right,
Minutes. Yeah.
right. Stormy Daniels, I meant.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
That's CBS, 60 Minutes.
Yes. Well, anyway, this is primetime action tonight. It's called The Last Days of Michael Jackson. So this is what they tell us we're gonna see. We're gonna see the details of his final weeks of his life, which I would like to see that. Never before seen interviews from people like Diane Sawyer and Barbara Walters. I would like to see that. We haven't seen Barbara Walters in a while. An interview with his public decoy. Now see, that's the one. I would like to hear what Michael Jackson's public, like a day in your life of being a Michael Jackson public decoy. And also, the tour bus operator who was in front of Michael Jackson's home the day that he died. Now, I don't know whether it was a loaded bus or not, but you can imagine the pandemonium if it was. Anyway, so Michael's estate is outraged that ABC is doing it. Perhaps that's the reason why I want to watch. You know, I like the words like outrage and exploiting and don't do it. I like that in my movies that make me want to watch. Will there be anything really, really new that we see? I don't know. It's kind of like them doing another Biggie or Tupac movie. You know what I mean? But it comes on at a convenient time, 8 o'clock. Well, I'll tell you what about this movie. This movie looks better, and I hate to say it, than the upcoming, but in movie theaters, movie about Whitney Houston. Her family authorized the movie. So that means that we're not gonna get a lot of the stuff, perhaps, that we really wanna see, what brought Whitney to the point of no return. But Whitney's movie is going to be they call it a documentary. It's gonna be in theaters beginning July 6th, which means that you have to leave your house. You gotta pay the $15. You know, another $5 for popcorn. Another, you know, so the Houston estate is really making you go out of your way to see this movie. And I really think that this is probably something, as long as the family is okaying it, it's probably going to be something that it would be better served on the Hallmark Channel or something. Or Lifetime. I don't know. Going to the movies is a really special thing, though. So thank you, ABC, for airing this Jackson thing tonight at our convenience in the house at 8 o'clock. So Britney Spears is fighting back at Kevin Federline. Oh. Well, when last we talked, which was yesterday, Remember, I was telling you that, you know, Kevin Federline wants his $20,000 a month child support increased. He has sole custody of their 2 boys, ages 11 and 12, so that'd be $10,000 a month per boy. And I said, well, you know, it hasn't been increased since it was first granted, since he was granted sole custody back in 2007. You know, so this is a decade later. So he hasn't gotten any more money. The boys have only gotten bigger with probably more boyish demands, you know, and goodness only knows, what if one of the things that they love to do is ride horses? Do you know how expensive it is to ride horses? You gotta buy the horses, 1 per piece. Then you gotta store the horses, and they can't be stored out tied to a tree in the back. You know, then you've got to showcase the horses. Then you've got to buy the boys the costumes for the horses. I don't know what these kids are up to, but all I'm saying is if Britney's living in a 13,000 square foot home, the new Vegas residency, or well, the old one now, but it's been redone. She's going back to Vegas like sometime next year. She's got deal after deal on the table, and reportedly she's making, as of right now, $33 million a year. And yeah. And I'm not counting her money, but yeah, you know what? I don't want to count her money, but I think that Britney, what you need to do then, because what she's saying is it's not her fault that Kevin went on and had 2 more kids after they split up. Well, yeah. Well, Kevin has 6 kids. Oh, okay. Born out of love, all of them. 2 of them were with Shar Jackson. You know, why don't we ever show Shar's picture?
I think we have one.
All right. Well,
there we go. No, that's not it.
That's not Shar.
We have
Shar's
one.
the black lady with the blue contacts.
Yep.
She loves some contacts. Anyway,
There we
there's
go.
Shar and their kids. So these are Federlines, but Shar's holding it down. We haven't heard a peep from her. Clearly, both of these kids are underage. Then he went on and had 2 children with Britney. Those kids were born out of love. Then, after the Britney relationship ended, he went on and married Victoria, who is a special education teacher, and they have 2 children together as well. So now in the Federline house, it's 2 parents and 4 kids. And they live, like I was telling you, in a 2,000 square foot house. And Britney does have an argument, but you have to let somebody else argue for you. I mean, $20,000 a month, I know, that's a lot of money. What is Kevin doing, taking care of his other children off of the Britney money? Not necessarily. It depends, you know, and the only one who would really be able to tell is like one of those forensic accountants, like 5 per team. 5 per team. And look at what Victoria really does for work. Is she a practicing special education teacher? How much money does she make? How much money has she made in the, yes, your money, Victoria, is involved because you're Federline now, and the household is asking for more money for 2 kids that live in your household on a regular basis. You know? So her money should be up for question. Kevin, what are you doing with money? How much money have you made in the past 3 to 5 years? Britney needs to know that. Britney needs to know whether you're taking her now $20,000 a month and funding the rest of your family with it, because that would be wrong. And you go back as much as like 3 or 5 years before you grant it. Because I told Kevin, go in for $50,000 and maybe you'll get $40,000. You know, and Britney, not for nothing, but what kind of woman is not taking care of her own 2 kids as a full-time mother? Just asking. Just asking. Now, I like Britney Spears. And I do believe, you know, people can get better with the proper guidance and the proper doctors and stuff. But that was Kevin Federline who stayed with you when you were attacking cars with umbrellas and shaving your head and going off the rails of life with your 4140 telephone calls and things. And I'm not laughing about this. I'm just telling Britney, you know, you want to deny this man, but just remember, this is the same man who could write the book and tell the stories. And you might have one of those non-disclosure agreements, which I don't even understand why people do that. Because all Kevin has to do is tell his mom everything about Britney, and then Britney's mom can tell it, and that way, you know, Kevin is safe. The story would get out. He's held your secrets. He's the sole custody caretaker of your 11-year-old and 12-year-old, which still makes me say, And why is your father still in charge of all of your money? So Kevin's in charge of your boys. Your father's in charge of your money. What are you in charge of, Britney? At 36 years old. I get it. It's Britney, bitch. I get it. I mean, I get it, you know, she's got her career and the whole bit, but you're the one who laid down and had 2 kids. Now take care of your kids, or you know what? How about you fight for custody from Kevin? How about you fight for custody? Anyway, good luck to the 2 of you. I see an argument on both sides is what I'm trying to tell you. I see an argument on both sides. Very disgusted. Minding my own business yesterday, making dinner, featuring shiitake mushrooms and cabbage, only to get a telephone call from the bureau. The chew is canceled. Like, what are you talking about? They're on now. I was home early enough. Like, they're on now. What are you saying? Apparently this is recorded or something. I have no idea. They all found out yesterday in a weird kind of way. Kind of like the way a lot of people find out that their job is no more. They get called into a meeting, nobody knew anything. Nobody knew anything. So it's gonna be replaced. I don't know where it comes on where you live, but here in New York, it comes on at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and they're gonna replace it with an extra hour of Good Morning America, only it won't be morning, it'll be afternoon. And we've moved on with our day, so why are we saying good morning in the afternoon? And to me, the cancellation of the chew came prematurely. Now, I'm not saying anything, all I'm saying is, all right, you know, Mario Batali has got his behind in a sling, in the worst way. So you fired him right away. They say sponsors for the show started to drop out, but why would the sponsors drop out? They did the right thing, I guess. Even though they prematurely fired him, he hasn't been found guilty of anything. But with that said, you get rid of the cancer and everybody else on the show is good. So, and then Daphne Oz, I adore Daphne Oz. Daphne Oz is no longer on the show. So then you just got the 3 of them. You've got Clinton, my Carla, and my Simon. And I love all 3 of them, but not for nothing. The Chew is not the place for 3 people. I'm used to seeing 5. And so this is what you should have done. I need to mind my own business and just worry about my own show. You know what? I need to worry about my own show, but you know what? When I like other shows and I'm invested, I don't just do TV, I love TV. So when I'm not like one of those hosts who, I don't watch anything else, I can't comment on anything else. No, when I love something, all right, so here's what you should have done, the Chew. You should have, and don't audition people to be on. There are plenty of chefs all over TV that people marginally know inside their households. Like, don't introduce us to somebody brand new at the Chew. Take somebody like, I don't know, like Sonny Anderson or the Sandwich King any one of those people from The Kitchen would have done it for me. Any one of those people. Do you watch The Kitchen? I watch The Kitchen, right? I mean, there are so many lovable cooks. Now what's going to happen? Clinton, who is not a cook by trade, he's a style guy, but now guys are getting styled by looking at the internet. You know how women are getting makeup tutorial from Instagram and stuff like that. I don't know, is there a career left for a Clinton? Probably. He could probably go on one of those sewing shows or something and criticize people. Clinton's got a good life left. Carla is so likable. They're probably calling her now from another cooking situation. Carla will be fine. Carla will be fine. And dare I say, Michael Simon might be relieved, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because first of all, he's married, he's got his kids and stuff. But, he owns like 20 restaurants, and he oversees them all. So, if anything, kind of like, the Chew is done. Anyway, the Chew, I just think that you prematurely canceled. And in case you're thinking of putting Lara Spencer in the afternoon, because that's what I was thinking at ABC. I know I need to worry about my own show, but let me just get back into yours for a moment. So the word on the curb is that people don't like Lara Spencer around there. And Lara's been here on our show before. She's perfectly delightful. She repurposes old stuff that you buy like upstate and brings it back to her house and carves it and stuff. Like, she's got a few different jobs going on and a family and junk. I don't know her for being bitchy, but they say behind the scenes, she's like hell on wheels over there at GMA, and they don't much like her. None of them. They don't much like her. So she probably has some time left on her contract. The best I can say is the best way to keep her employed, but keep her away from the rest of everybody else, is put her on at 1 o'clock in the afternoon where she can just, host Good Morning America at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You're gonna miss me when I'm gone. Oh gosh, this show. You know, Chet Hayes, you know Chet. Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson's son, Chet Hayes, AKA White Chocolate. Well, here's White Chocolate. You know, he's turned his life around. Now, we were here for him and talking about him on Hot Topics when he was in the worst possible position. Remember, he busted up a hotel room in London? Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Yeah,
I remember
it
stuff.
sounds like fuzzy in my memory.
And he took on affectations of the hood.
Yep.
Yo, dis and yo, dad. Yo, daddy-o, I'm gonna be a rapper. Well, yes, 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 honey, yes. Mind you, this boy grew up in Malibu and Beverly Hills. What you know about two-gun holding? What are you doing? Anyway, so if you remember, his street name was White Chocolate. Here's a brief look at what he was, and then I'm gonna tell you what he is. Go ahead.
Man, I remember Valentine's Day. Man, most stressful day of the year when you got a lot of hoes.
You could picture Tom coming home with his briefcase like, Chet, what are you doing? Anyway, Chet, the good thing is that, and he was off the rails with drugs and stuff like that. He's been sober for 2 years. Sober for 2 years. Good for him. And he's got a job. He's working on Empire. You know, he plays a white boy who wants to be a rapper. Not much of a stretch, but the point is that, you know, his nose is clean, his mind is clean, and being a dad has given him a new lease on life. I didn't realize that he was a dad until I had to be reminded. You know, he had one of those oops babies from a one-night stand. Well, it gets real in the field. And here's his baby's mom's. Yep. That's his. So, look, he had this oops baby with this young lady. Don't know whether they're still together or not, but jackpot for her, because you got a Hanks. You're like the Black China of Beverly Hills now. Yes, girl. Tom Hanks is not gonna show the baby girl. Tom Hanks is not gonna let anything happen to his granddaughter. Nope, nope. And Chet is clean and sober, and Chet's got a job, and all is right with the world. Good luck, girl. And congratulations, Chet. We all have our stuff that we really, really love, and it takes us a moment before we decide that we're gonna give it up, even at gunpoint. Like, remember when Carrie was robbed of her shoes in, you know, Sex and the City reference? Do you remember? Not my shoes. But they took her, right? Manolo's right. She tried to fight for him, though, and then it's just like, okay, well, it's still going on. This time it's a man in Michigan. He was robbed at gunpoint because he refused to give up his most prized possession. He saved a lot of money for this $1,700 Louis Vuitton bag. He's 31 years old enough to know better, that life is more than things. But his name is Jared, and Jared was walking home from work when a man covered his mouth and pulled a gun out and demanded that he hand over the bag. Well, Jared refused to hand over the bag, telling the robber, "You're not getting my Louis Vuitton bag. I worked very hard for this bag." So the robber, no, here's the rest of the story. So the robber had a gun and fired 2 shots next to Jared to scare him. Like, pow, pow. Jared's like, I'm still not giving you my bag. No, look, there's more. Jared's like, I'm still not giving you my bag. And so Jared turned around and ran away. Well, the man continued to shoot. Missed him the first time, the gun jammed the last time. Jared is alive, the cops caught the suspect, and you all just, Jared said that afterwards he really realized that he would never let that happen again. But he does love his bag. Okay, that's it for Hot Topics. Well, no, you said we have one more minute, and they're telling me we have more great show. Well, what's it gonna be? One more minute or one great show? Come on, give me a story. Oh, have you seen K. Michelle's new booty? All right. I don't want to rip you off 1 minute, okay? Because look, she's reducing her booty as others are enlarging, and she's been posting the pictures as it's been gradually reduced. And here's the reduction of it all. She says she's got one more round to go, and that's next week. I don't know exactly where she's going with it, but wherever she's going, you look fine to me, K. Michelle. Congratulations on your booty reduction. And now we've got more great show. We're gonna show you the hottest swimsuits of the summer, but up next, the fabulous and ever intriguing Nicole Murphy is here. So grab a snack.